First one, capacity and functionality of the parliament. Second, role of the polity.
Well, what is the first point?
Capacity and functionality of the parliament. Your Lordship, because I also am a practitioner from the parliament, being a member, and also happen to be a vice chairman of the Rajya Sabha. So therefore, I'm trying to bring in very briefly in the 5 minutes that I have an evidence as to what goes behind capacity and functionality of the parliament and why parliament should hear this. Go after this. Second, role of the polity. Now, role of polity is very crucial, and I'll talk about that in a bit. And the third, impact on public policy due to legislative absence. Impact on public policy due to legislative absence. That 3-page note, the first page, and I'll not go into any of the transcripts of that to save time. I'll come straight to para 3 and para 4 on page 2, which has a table. Or probably I'll also skip para 3. I'll just come to para 4 right away, Your Lordships. There is a table.
I don't think you have that. No, your note has to...
We don't have it.
Joby Verghese.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Oh, Joby Verghese.
Joby Verghese.
9-page note.
I have got hard copies as well, Your Lordship.
No, we've got it. We've got it.
Shakti Foundation.
Shakti Foundation. Yes, Your Lordship.
Yes.
Where you have mentioned this new bill, which is that Jan Vishwas.
Jan Vishwas Amendment of Provisions Bill 2022. Your Lordship, why have I mentioned it? It is already a public document which was presented to the Lok Sabha on 2023 and the Rajya Sabha. Today, we are talking about SMA as a canvas. But we all agree to an extent that without the personal laws being in the ambit, this entire matter cannot be taken up. I wanted to give an evidence in this effect through this Jan Vishwas bill, how the parliament has the capacity and the functionality to deal in a matter which is having wider ramifications. This bill, Your Lordships, imagine this, 42 laws of this country are going to be in some way affected. 42 laws, 182 amendments across 19 ministries of this country. So for something as mammoth as this, it is the parliamentary committee, and in this case, it was a joint committee that was done, which actually has the capability, capacity, and functionality in order to go after and deal with a matter which deals with 182 amendments only in one bill, dealing with 19 ministries of this country, dealing with 42 laws of this country. That is my first part of the point that I'm trying to make, that if we are going forward in this matter, which will have wider ramifications, will have impact on other laws, then this could be a parameter to look at. Second, if you go to para 5, Your Lordship, I've spoken about the JPCs, the select committees. I'll not focus on that. The next one is para 6, surrogacy bill, sensitive, sent to a select committee, dealt with appropriately, the capacity and the functionality of the parliament. Page 3, the mediation bill 2021, which is going to be tabled in the parliament very soon. 23 meetings have gone through it, Your Lordship, to the department-related standing committee on personnel, public grievances, law and justice. To do what? To ensure that we have a foolproof law. To have this kind of a debate and discussion, the appropriate forum is the parliament. I was a member of this committee, Your Lordship, when this mediation bill was being discussed. And the reason why I have tried to build on the first point, and I'll stop my first point here, is the capacity and the capability and the functionality of the parliament. I'll go to the second point, Your Lordship. I'll not take more than 5 minutes. I've committed to it. I won't. Second, role of polity. Your Lordship, we may talk about it as a social construct. We may talk about it as a legal construct. We may talk about it as a socio-legal construct. But unless you are able to flesh this out through the role of the polity, which has been absent so far, then it will not be very fruitful to be able to broad base it and take it right down to the bottom of the pyramid. In doing so, the role of the polity at this matter, we may have a declaration, Your Lordship, but the role of the polity in this matter has been completely silent. Where can we find that? We can find it through the parliament. Your Lordships, therefore, my point number 10, voice of 1.4 billion people. You have 788 members of parliament, 245 Rajya Sabha, 543 Lok Sabha, 12 of them appointed by the Honorable President of India. Wouldn't it be befitting to actually send something as widely impacting as this to the parliament to be dealt with appropriately and more holistically, where the canvas to deal with this which be much wider than the canvas that we're looking at. Third, and my final point, and I close, is the impact on public policy due to legislative absence. Your Lordships, let's assume for a moment we have a declaration. How do we execute that declaration? In Navtej, you have a declaration, fundamental right, taken up. In Vishakha, it went into a law, sexual harassment law. In terms of Shaira Bano, a law, a legislation. So whenever you find that there is a declaration, it goes into a law and thereby has public policy precepts that are added to it. In this case, because the Parliament does not have or hasn't dealt with it, we may have a declaration, but the Parliament may not go and dispose it of as a law. In that case, the declaration would be there. Writ of mandamus may be there. But the public policy precepts and the public policy implementation on the ground may be difficult. What would inter alia happen? You might have contempt notices coming. Therefore, Your Lordship, I'll close here, my 5 minutes are over, that these three are crucial. My humble and limited prayer, send it to the Parliament. I'm not going to the merits of the matter at all. Whether it is right, whether it's wrong, I'm not going into it. I'm going on the very simple principle, send it to Parliament, let the Parliament deal with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Patra.
Deeply obliged.
This was Mr. Patra, the counsel, of course, arguing, not Mr. Patra as the parliamentarian.
Deeply grateful, Your Lord.
Thank you, Mr. Patra.
Thank you. Thank you, Lordship.
I've been goading him, Willis, to come more to court.
Yes.
He's slowly
Yes.
starting, Willis.